Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Dr. Baher Fuad, and we are going to discuss the concept of accountability in Islam. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in order to worship and serve Him. Second, we have a free choice. We can accept Allah's guidance, obey His orders, or we can reject this and go our own way. Thirdly, we are going to be tested and tried in our life, and the idea is to learn from these tests and trials, become better human beings. Fourthly, there are many temptations in life, and if we submit to them, we become slaves to our desires. So how can we control our vain desires? Fifth is that we are human beings, we have shortcomings, we commit mistakes. The way to atone for these mistakes is to turn to God, seek His forgiveness and His mercy. Then there is a day of judgment when everyone will have to account for everything he did in life. So these are some of the important concepts in the frame of accountability. To begin with, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in order to serve Him and to worship Him. Not in the narrow sense of rituals of worship like prayer, fasting, giving charity, but much more than that. Everything that we do every day of our life is an act of worship if the intention is good and if we are doing something that is good and is helpful, not just to ourselves but also to other people who need our help. In the Quran, في سورة الذاريات, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We created mankind and jinn only to worship me and to serve me. وفي سورة المؤمنون, Believers, chapter 23, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Did you think that we created you in vain for no reason, or that you are not going to come back to us to account for what you did in your life? So there is a reason, a rationale, a wisdom underlying our creation. As I said, everything that we do every day of our life is an act of worship. For example, when we pray, we are worshiping God. When we are good to our families and our neighbors, we are worshiping God. When we go to work and we are honest to the work to the best of our ability to help other people, we are worshiping God. When we are kind and caring, patient, forgiving, merciful, we are worshiping God. When we are just, we are not wronging anyone. When we are truthful, do not lie, do not cheat, we are worshiping God. So worship is all of these things. So what's the object of worship? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order us to serve Him and to worship Him? There is a verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2 in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ اعْبُدُوا رَبَّكُمُ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. O people, this is not just for believers, for everyone. Worship and serve your Lord who created you and created those before you in order that you may become righteous. So the object of worship is righteousness, piety, goodness, ihsan, to do good. And this order is meant to bring us closer to God in spirituality, to improve our morals, character and behavior, to make us better human beings, more helpful to everyone around us. So that's the objectives of worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala subjected everything on earth to the benefit of man. أَلَمْ تَرَوْا أَنَّ اللَّهَ سَخَّرَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَأَسْبَغَ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعَمَهُ ظَاهِرَةً وَبَاطِنَةً. Do you not see that Allah subjected everything in the heavens and earth at your disposal, and He made His blessings overflowing to you, both apparent and hidden? So this is the reason Allah made all of this, because He wanted us to represent Him on earth, to be guardians over other things, to care for them, not to corrupt earth or to spread evil on earth, but to take care of everything. Now, the second important concept is that we have a free will. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offers His guidance to us. We can accept it or we can reject it. He told us to obey His orders. We can accept it or we can reject it. So those who accept Allah's guidance and obey His orders will be guided to His way, the straight way, and will be protected from the influence of Satan. Those who refuse Allah's guidance and refuse to obey His orders are left to their own way. They are not guided and they are not protected. So the Quran is explicit that we have this free will to accept or to reject guidance. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Let him who will believe, believe, and let him who reject faith, reject faith. Al-ayah fi Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, chapter 18, the Quran. Also fi Surah Yunus, Jonah, chapter 10, the Quran. وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَآمَنَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كُلُّهُمْ جَمِيعًا أَفَأَنْتَ تُكْرِهُ النَّاسَ حَتَّى يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. If it was the will of your Lord, everyone on earth would have believed. Are you then forcing people to believe against their will? وفي سورة البقرة chapter 2 in the Quran, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. Let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands clear from falsehood. Now, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a free will? Because if we have a free will, we are responsible for our choice and we are accountable to Allah. If we do not have a free will, then we are not responsible, and on the Day of Judgment we'll ask Allah, why should we be accountable if we did not have a choice for that? Now, this free will means that we are responsible and accountable, that there is a Day of Judgment when everyone will stand before God and has to explain and account for everything that he or she did in her life. This accountability means that there is reward and there is punishment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped us if we choose to follow His way by conferring on every human being certain abilities. والله أخرجكم من بطون أمهاتكم لا تعلمون شيئا وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة لعلكم تشكرون. Allah brought you out of the wombs of your mother. You knew nothing, but He gave you hearing, eyesight, and intellect, and your heart, that you may be thankful and grateful. And the best blessing of Allah is our ability to think, to learn, to understand, and to consider and reflect. And the greatest blessing of Allah is He sent us His own words, the Quran. Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran khalaqa al-insan allamahu al-bayan. The most gracious taught the Quran, created man, He taught him intelligent speech. Surah Ar-Rahman. Now, the way to learn is to ask questions, to think, to consider, to reflect. وَلِيَعْلَمَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكَ فَيُؤْمِنُوا بِهِ فَتُخْبِتَ لَهُ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَهَادِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. So that those endowed with knowledge would know that this Quran is the truth, therefore believe in it, therefore submit to Allah and seek further guidance. 4 stages: learning and understanding, belief, submission, seeking further guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we cannot enumerate His blessings on us. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. الآية في سورة النحل, the Beast, chapter 16. If you try to enumerate the blessings of Allah, you cannot count them. Allah is often forgiving, most merciful. He knows our human weakness and our shortcomings, and that's the reason He forgives us and He shows mercy on us. So in this part 1 of the concept of accountability, we talked about why we were created to worship and serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we have a free will, but with that free will comes responsibility and accountability. Next session, inshallah, we are going to talk about why are we tested and tried in our life. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه وادعوه إنه سميع قريب مجيب الدعاء.